Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, I have some breaking news that I'm sure none of you are aware of. Something's about to happen, folks. I know, that's shocking. None of you probably figured that out on your own. What I mean by that is there's just a lot of stuff happening. It's happening kind of all at once. There's a lot of stuff in the news, and of course the big thing in the news is the whole Russia-Ukraine stuff. And I don't know, I just have a gut feeling that something's about to happen. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that Russia's going to invade Ukraine, because still not convinced that that's going to happen. I mean, if the White House had its way, that's what would happen. And in fact, they very well could, stage something that gives us some kind of justification to start some kind of conflict. It's very apparent that that's what they want. And, it's quite possible the same way with Russia. I think that both, regardless of how you look at it, both Biden and Putin, they've kind of painted themselves in the corner. I mean, I know it's hard to believe. Broken clocks are right twice a day, and sometimes CNN gets it right too when they say this, that they both have to do something. I mean, if Putin backs down and does nothing, it's probably gonna not go so well for him. But most certainly, if Biden ends up doing nothing, or nothing ends up happening, it's gonna look really bad for him. He's already got horrible poll numbers, and people are starting to lose favor with the whole, health crisis stuff. They already can't stand what's going on with the economy. But one thing that really unifies Americans right now is the debacle of Afghanistan. And if he completely screws this up, or does all this hype and evacuating people from the embassy and ordering Americans out of the country, and then nothing actually happens, it's just going to make him look even weaker. So I think because of that, there's a possibility that we're going to see something happen. And in the end, my always fallback to is they're just both playing a part in this little game orchestrated by the globalists, to in the end, we'll have the Great Reset and the Agenda 2030 and all of that ruling us. And so when it comes to that conflict, I think something is going to happen. What is it? I don't know. There's certainly much more effort being put into this than I've ever seen before of any other conflict. There's over 30 countries now that in some form or fashion has either ordered or requested their citizens to leave the country of Ukraine. Insurance companies are no longer insuring flights over Ukrainian airspace. I mean, there's just something almost, every hour or so in the news. So there's that, okay? And then there's this whole trucker stuff and the protests and the Freedom Rally protests and stuff. I can't figure out one thing about all this. Where's all the Americans? I mean, if you get online, there's lots of Americans they're all for this. They're great. This is awesome. Yay, go Canada. But where are they? I mean, I don't know if you saw over the weekend, Australia, the country that we've all been talking about for 2 years, of how these people that once were the rugged, wild people of Australia gave up all their guns a few years back, and then now they've been basically living in a prison again down there. We've been talking about that for 2 years, but yet over the weekend, tens of thousands, very possibly hundreds of thousands of people marched on the capital of Australia. They were everywhere. I mean, there was no doubt that there was a massive amount of people marching in a freedom type of rally. Things been happening in France too. I mean, they've been marching in France over the weekend, the last several days. There's been trucker convoys in other parts of the world, in random other countries. And of course, we know all about what's going on in Canada. And in the United States, it's been crickets. I mean, they say they're going to. They say it's going to be the 1st of March. But as we're already seeing in Canada, there's little bits of it starting to kind of fizzle out. I mean, according to the news today, they cleared the bridge that they were blocking the Ambassador Bridge, and apparently there wasn't a whole lot of resistance. They told everyone to leave. Most of the people left. From what I saw from the video, there were a few people that refused to leave, and 12 people were arrested and removed off the bridge. So what's going on here in America? Why are they waiting so long? I don't understand it. I mean, I know the story is, well, they got to put in for vacation and they got to get things, all that kind of stuff. Well, I hope we're not invaded, or there isn't an actual real revolution, because it'll take forever to get started, because everyone's got to get it approved by their bosses so that they can take off to go fight in a revolution. I didn't know that's how things work nowadays. And it seems strange. It seems strange when all these other countries that, we don't consider, because we're Americans, we don't consider them as free as us. And yet they're out there protesting through this whole time, the last couple of years. There's been protests all over Europe, large, massive protests. And yet here in America, there's nothing. So to me, there's kind of two possibilities here. Either those protests are very orchestrated, organized, and they just don't want to do that here in America for other reasons, or the American people really are bigger sheep than we thought. They're really comfortable. They've got good jobs, and they've got pensions, and they got mortgages, and they got PTA meetings and soccer meetings and things like that. Really important stuff. They don't have time to stop all that and do freedom stuff. But yet it's kind of happening all over, and there's all this talk of it, and we're already seeing shortages in some areas, especially in Canada. And so there's that. And then there's just all this other strange stuff that's happening. I mean, according to the DHS, they've got 500 or plus agents now in and around the Super Bowl. That's, I guess, happening tonight. Because of this, but yet there's not really been any word of anyone actually being there to protest the Super Bowl or to try to blockade it. I think with all that we're seeing in the news, it's almost like they're just throwing a lot at us. And I don't know if it's because one of these things, possibly the Russia thing, is going to happen, or if they're doing this because there's something else that's going on. Because of all this stuff, then there's this health crisis that they just apparently, poof, it's gone. The states and mayors, the governors and the mayors of these areas that were once extremely vigilant and ardent about sticking with the science, now they just say, well, it's over. Go back, go home. It's done. When the people that are the official scientists are saying that it's not, that it's too early to do that we can't stop doing this because there's other variants and there's other diseases out there that are picking up speed. I don't know if you've seen this, that in Europe there's this new strange strain of HIV that's just going through Europe, and while it's can still be treated, it's way more contagious than any of the others previously. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and with this whole Russia thing, it's like this. It's down to the crunch time. According to the news media, we're going to be in World War III in 2 days. That's what they're saying, but yet there's no warning. There's nothing to the American people like, hey, get ready, because if we go to war with Russia, well, that means we're going to end up being in war with China, because that's when China is going to move on Taiwan. And then we're involved in a big global war with two very powerful adversaries that, could actually hurt us. You don't hear a whole lot of talk about that. It's just all this talk about, well, Russia's getting ready to invade. They're going to invade. 30 days later, they're going to invade. A week later, they're going to invade. Well, if they're going to do it, they need to hurry up and do it, because people are kind of getting tired of it. And all along, you've got Ukraine acting like, they're sitting in the middle of these two big bullies, and they're saying, this is crazy, guys. Ain't nothing going on here. We're fine. We're okay. So there's a lot of strangeness going on, and just have a feeling that something's about ready to happen. I can't really put my finger on it and tell you exactly what that is, and I could be completely wrong. I know there's this argument that Russia doesn't really want to invade, and that it wouldn't be in their best interest. And part of that I agree, but I think that Russia could withstand the sanctions a little bit better than what a lot of people would think. I think in the end they figure that it's probably going to hurt us just as bad, especially politically, and maybe it'll be a wash. I did see one thing. The president of Ukraine invited Joe Biden to actually come to Ukraine. That's weird. Like, if they're getting ready to invade in just a couple of days, why would you have the president of this country come over? And do you really think that Joe Biden's going to actually be able to do anything? I mean, does he not watch the video clips in the news of Joe Biden? Does he really think having him there is going to be any good? I mean, is it all a setup? I mean, I can't imagine that Joe Biden would agree to that. It's weird, right? I mean, am I the only one that thinks this? That all the stuff that's happening kind of all at the same time is just strange? And most people just kind of going about their lives, noticing that the shelves are less and less stuff on them. The prices are just going up and up and up and up, Noticed the other day around here that gas jumped 20 cents overnight. And everyone's just okay with it. The Federal Reserve is having a emergency meeting tomorrow, apparently. It was in the news. What's that going to be all about? I'm sure they're going to fix something, right? Or mess it up, one or the other. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not necessarily warning everyone because I don't really have anything to warn you about. But I just have a feeling that I'd say by this time next week, things will be a little different, and something big will have been in the news that we're like, maybe that was it. I could be wrong, but I just thought I would share that. All right, folks, let me know what you think. It's okay. I know I'm crazy. You can go ahead and say that. Actually, most of you don't. There's always the few trolls that have to put their 2 cents in, and I don't really care about that. So let me know what you think, what your theories are of what's happening and what's going to happen, because I enjoy hearing that. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.